you're also known, I think in your own words, as a bit of a maverick when it comes to film funding and distribution models. You're kind of like turning the whole actual financing model on its head in a way. You're going straight to the cinemas at times. Could you share with us a little bit about how you're rejigging it to make it work for you?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of the solutions have come out of just literally me asking myself, what is the biggest problem that I face? Putting that into a sentence and then working out how to circumnavigate it. And in the case of Kenny, it was very apparent that the film was centered around an existing toilet company, and I wanted to create a fictional character and put it in a real toilet company. What I didn't realize at the time was that toilet company was going to be interested in financing the film. So we were very lucky. We had, so in that case, the actual toilet company, Splashdown, fully financed the film, which is unheard of. The good news is the film did well, which took us all by surprise. Splashdown not only made their money back, but they made a little extra, and it put us in good shape to be able to knock on their doors again some years later when I had my second film. Brother's Nest was the film I made with my brother, and that was made in a very non-conventional way as well, which was so often what you have to do as a filmmaker is you've got to get funding from the film bodies. You then have to, quite often they insist that you have to have a deal with a distributor to begin with, because distributors can set you up with release dates, they can hook you up with streaming networks, and they can hook you up with cinemas. Well, Kenny had done so well at the cinemas. I had created quite a lot of friendships and connections with a lot of the regional cinemas that really celebrated Kenny in a big way, and we went to a lot of trouble back in 2007 to do some really hands-on promotions for those cinemas. So we already had a bit of a relationship with them, and it suddenly occurred to me that I could circumnavigate going through the distributors by just going direct to the cinemas. So every year they have the cinema convention up in Queensland, where all the cinema owners get together and look at all the product that's coming out for the following year. And often they're dictated to by the large cinema chains, sort of demonstrating what blockbusters will or won't go their way. And I just thought it might be a smart move to go up there and talk to these regional cinemas first. So that's what we did. We went up there, showed them we had a brochure of what the film was about, and what we offered was, if they came on board very early and gave us an advance on the movie hire, we would in turn generate marketing material that was directly related to their cinema, and ultimately Shane and I would come and do a Q&A or a red carpet with those cinemas.
Do you think films under $1 million have the capability to actually earn money? You said Kenny did. Was that close to $1 million in budget?
Well, it was actually a lot less. It was half that. It was about $527,000 was the budget. The interesting thing is that when you start to generate publicity for a film, get it put into a cinema or put on a streaming network, and you're advertising to try and get bums on seats or to get people's interest, you generally need to have about 16 times the film's budget in returns before you actually even see $1. So it is tricky. It's not easy making money on Australian films. We were very lucky with Kenny in that we did. Brother's Nest was a different deal. I didn't want to spend 4 years working on the film, which is what I'd done with Kenny. I wanted to make a movie in the space of a year. So to answer your question, I think it is possible to make money on a $1 million budget, but you really do need to have an idea that's going to transcend in some way, that's going to really hook an audience in. And I think that the difficult thing, the thing I would say, is to go in there honestly with investors from day one. Don't go in there telling them they're going to make money. I think it's very hard to make money from investment in the Australian film market. We just don't have a big enough population to sort of accrue the kind of money that, say, China can, or America can, or even the UK. So I'm always very upfront with investors. I tell them right from the very beginning, if you're going into this because you want to see a return, you're probably best not to do it. If you're coming into this because you want to be involved in filmmaking and you want to have bragging rights to tell your friends that you're doing something a little out of the ordinary to how you usually spend your money, then this is the perfect thing. Because not only, and this is what I've found with a lot of investors, they're not particularly, obviously if they can make money from it, great. If they can get their money back, they're thrilled. But what they do love is the fact that they get to be a part of a film, they get to come to a premiere, they invite their friends. Quite often the investors are asking me to put on private screenings for their friends, and then we do a Q&A, and something as simple as that can be a big enough incentive for an investor to go, yeah, I'd like to have that. I've made all my money on horse racing, which is at the Melbourne Cup, why don't we try a movie and see what sort of excitement that can generate.